Good morning, and welcome into the Lifeline Morning Show. I'm Steven. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. You know, I love getting your day started off on the right foot. And to help with that, I use an inspiring quote. And today's hits deep. Obedience is your responsibility. The outcome is God's. Ooh, that's from Priscilla Shirer. Most of us are really good at planning, dreaming, even worrying about how things will turn out, right? Yeah, but obedience? That's a whole different level of trust. It means saying yes when the next step doesn't make sense. It means showing up when the result isn't guaranteed. It means surrendering the need to control and choosing to follow anyway. And let's be honest, we love outcomes. We want to see results, right? But God, He honors the obedience, not the scoreboard. So today's theme is this: obedience over outcome, because His timing really is perfect, even when it feels slow. And maybe the miracle you're waiting on is tied to the moment you choose to step, even when you don't know where it leads. So I want to ask you this: are you learning to wait well? If so, what's God been teaching you in the waiting? I'd love to know. You know what? Your comment this morning might be a game changer for somebody else. So call me, 256-505-0885, and let's talk about it. Or if you'd like to text me, it's 256-967-0885. And of course, you can always email me, Steven@885jfm.com. I look forward to hearing from you any way you get in touch, because like I said, we learn from each other. And it could be that the lesson you've learned is something someone else needs to hear. It's going to be the difference in their life and help them to obey even better. So let's talk about it. Contact me. All right, more great music headed your way. I got Mercy Me with Oh Death right here, right now on the Lifeline Morning Show on your 88.5 JFM, making your day better. And a big shout out to Jesse Martin and the whole family enjoying that vacation in Orlando. I've heard great things, and I saw pictures, and it looks like y'all have had a blast. Thank you for making us a part of your morning. And I know you're like an hour ahead of us, so it's 7:09 where you are, right? Yeah, and you know what? I'd love to shout out our friends over in Germany, but I don't know your names. So I need you to reach out to me. For you, email is probably best. So it's this: Steven, Steven, @885jfm.com. Let me know your name so I can shout you out by name from Fuchenstein and Vogelen, Germany. Okay? All right. And hey, that invitation is open to everybody, by the way. I'd love to shout you out here on the radio. Maybe text is better for you, 256-967-0885. All right? Here's Chris McClarney with Holland, and I'm listening.
When you speak, confusion fades.
I don't know who this is for, but I want you to hear it, and I want you to feel it. You are the one that Jesus loves. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter how dark you feel. It doesn't matter the regrets that you carry or the shame that you endure. You are still the one that Jesus loves.
Where are you now when darkness seems to win?
Boaz in Albertville right now, they are, kissing that 70-degree mark. It's 71 right now in Coleman and Bluntsville and Scottsboro. It's 73 here in Gunnersville, and some of our friends up in Huntsville, they're already dealing with a bunch of rain and lightning and thunder, and so, yeah, one of those days. But it's okay. The sunshine will come back. You just have to remember that. It's like when you're going through the tough times of life. It's like, okay, this is just for a little while. It's not going to be like this always. And that brings you a little comfort, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. Hey, we're going to talk about some obedience coming up here on the show. I know that it's not a very popular topic, but you know what? It's integral to our Christian faith, obedience. So, yeah, stick around. We're going to dive into that. For now, let me tell you about your word of life. It's from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 in the New Living Translation of the Bible. See, right here is your chance to be obedient. Here it is. Listen to this and then do it. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. You see, there's a command there. Don't get tired of doing what's good. But there's also a reward because you're reaping a harvest of blessing. So don't give up. Keep moving forward. Keep doing what you're called to do and watch what God does. Yeah, he's pretty good with that. In fact, he's excellent with that. Hey, why don't you share that word of life with somebody? We've got it ready for you across all of our socials and at the top of our website, 885jfm.com. Good morning to you, Joel Modis. I see you hanging out with us in Palm Coast, Florida. Hope you're having a great day on the beach. Sir, I bet you've already been out and walked the dogs on the beach. Yep. I might need to see a picture of that, so I'll be watching my texting app. Now, Bodie, Whisper and the Wind.
When I'm feeling my feet are tired from running so hard for miles, you are the air I really need.
When you are the encourager, when you're the one speaking life to all the people around you, there's one question that you may never get asked, but when it finally comes your way, it hits you like a ton of bricks. Why? Well, because you've always got the right things to say to everybody. You're always encouraging them. But what happens when you have a bad day? Where does your encouragement come from? Well, I came across Dr. Milton Gonzalez, and he helps a lot of people out with his comments and his wisdom and his encouragement. And he got that question. And oh my, what came from that? I think we all can learn from. So take a listen to this.
I was out on a running trail one morning and a man slowed down right beside me and he looked at me and he asked, "Hey, aren't you that motivator from Instagram?" I smiled and I looked at him and I said, "I guess you could call me that." He then asked this question. He said, "Who encourages the encourager?" I kind of paused and I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Yeah, who encourages you?" He said, "When everyone leans on you, when you are the voice for so many people, who speaks to you?" You know, it stopped me right in my tracks. Of all the questions I've ever been asked, that one pierced the deepest. I looked at him and answered, "I do. I am. I am my greatest encourager." And I was reminded of David, not the king, not the giant slayer, but the man who wept until he had no more tears to give. You see, in 1 Samuel 30, his family's gone, his followers speak of stoning him, and the weight of leadership grief and guilt is crushing him. But the Bible says, "But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God." You see, he didn't wait for applause. He didn't scroll for affirmations. He didn't text someone to talk him off the ledge. He spoke to his soul. He stood up when no one else would stand with him and for him. You see, he reminded himself of who his God was and who he was because of him. And so I've learned to do the same, you see, to lift my own head, to preach to my own doubt, to remind my own heart that I am not what the world says that I am, that I am what the word already declared I would be and become. You see, I've learned that I will be either my greatest encourager or my greatest adversary. So today, be your own reminder, be your own voice, be your own witness. Don't become what the world expects. Become what the word has already prophesied over you. Because sometimes, the strongest thing that you will ever do is not move mountains, but speak life over your own soul when no one else remembers your name.
Do you remember all those lonely nights when he took the wrongs that you couldn't make right?
I mentioned earlier that I saw Joel Modis hanging out with us in Palm Coast, Florida. And, you know, his custom is to take the dogs for a walk on the beach just about every morning. And so I said, hey, I might need to see a picture of that. So I did get a message back from him. And he sent me a picture from the other day at sunrise on Marineland Beach. And it's such a beautiful sunrise. He's not able to walk today. He's got a blister on his toe. So he's got to take a couple days off. And then he mentioned this. He said, maybe you talked about it already, but last night on YouTube, there was a recent K-Love Awards show that was absolutely incredible. Worthy to check out. God bless. Yeah. You know what, Joel Modis? I love everything K-Love is up to. I really do. And I responded back to him. I said, what a sunrise. Sorry about the toe. And K-Love is such an inspiration in this industry. They're making big waves in our culture through all avenues of media, not just radio. The dream is for JFM to be that impactful. Did you know that K-Love not just does radio. They do all kinds of things. It's called an omni-channel approach, right? So K-Love is wherever their audience is, whether driving in the car, streaming online, watching on TV, listening via smart speakers, engaging on social media. Wherever you are, they are. And you know what? That's the dream for JFM. We hope to be that impactful because, wow, you know how many lives that you can touch? You know how big of a opportunity you have for God to use you to touch people's lives and make a big difference in this world. That's a big deal. So yeah, I found it, by the way. I went and found the 2025 K-Love Fan Awards, and for the longest time it was just on TBN on demand, like the extra paid thing, but now it's on YouTube and it sounds a little something like this.
Welcome to the 2025 K-Love Fan Awards on TBN, presented by Coca-Cola Consolidated. Please welcome to the Grand Ole Opry House stage, Toby Mac, featuring John Reddick.
How cool is that? And then they bring all of these artists together. They have a huge fan awards show, and everybody gets involved. It's always a bunch of fun. You're like, Steven, why are you talking about your competition? You know what? In the industry, it's real easy for people to talk about each other, different stations, as competition. But what is this that we're really a part of? It's the kingdom of God. We are not competition. We are all trying to build the same kingdom. So, hey, I'm thankful for them. And they give me a lot of inspiration. So I just wanted to tell you. Thanks, Joel Modest, for hanging out with us. And hey, if you get a chance, yes, you need to go check out the K-Love Fan Awards. It looks like they had a really good time. Now, I'm Mikey Tyler, and God did it right here on the Lifeline Morning Show on your 88.5 JFM.
You know I really tried so hard, but I couldn't make the waters part. Didn't matter how many times that I said it.
Let's talk a little bit about your word of life, shall we? Today it's from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, in the New Living Translation of the Bible. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. I know, sometimes you get tired. Sometimes you get burned out. Sometimes it feels like nobody appreciates you. There's no pat on the back. There's no that a boy or that a girl or way to go. Keep doing the thing because you know it's what you're supposed to be doing. Follow his lead. You know what? Obedience comes at a price. Yeah, it's not comfortable all the time, and that is okay because it's all going to pay off. So I hope that you can stick to that word of life and maybe even share it with somebody. Yeah, we've got it ready for you across our socials and at the top of our website, 885jfm.com. So I made a big blunder on the radio earlier. The first segment, if you listen to it on the podcast, you won't hear it because I fixed it. I cleaned it up. But I'll tell you what I did now. I'll own it. So I saw the Martin family was listening to us down in Orlando, Florida. They're on their family vacation having a blast. And instead of calling the dad by his name, Jesse, I called him Jamie. I don't know what my deal was. It's too early in the morning, I guess. But you ever do that? It's like you accidentally call somebody by the wrong name. It makes you feel like an inch tall, right? So I apologized to him. I'm like, I am so sorry. But then he informed me that he actually has a twin brother. And he's used to getting confused for somebody else all the time. Sometimes people come up to him and have a conversation and they think they're talking to his brother. So he just smiles and nods. He just goes on with the conversation. Afterwards, his wife is like, who was that? He's like, I have no idea. But it was a good conversation, right? So we got to talking a little bit. And, well, him and his brother, they did pull this off one time in elementary school. They kind of impersonated each other. They went to each other's class, but he said that was the only time it ever happened. Nobody ever found out. It's funny. Okay, so we were talking a little bit, and it's just so cool what God is doing in his life. And he shared with me a lot about things that happen, about sometimes just these simple revelations that come to him. And quite often I use them here on the radio. And hey, that's the reason why I love for you to reach out because we can learn so much from each other. And you know what? What we talk about sometimes can be shared with others, and it can help them as well. So yeah, he actually, he sent me this because I told you they're on vacation. Well, they went and saw a new movie recently, the How to Train Your Dragon movie. Saw it last night. Said it was a great movie. He said, I guess, he said this, I think I'm getting soft because I get teary-eyed during movies. I guess when you have kids, it unlocks a different part of your heart. It does make me think about being God's child and how he must feel about all of us. If he can forgive us and be perfect in his patience with us, it's amazing to think about. Just so thankful for God's love. I want to request Homesick for Heaven. All right, man, I got you. Here it is, Phil Wickham with that song. This is my first time hearing this one, so I'm looking forward to it.
My heart belongs to a country and a king, of a land I've always known, but I've never seen.
Obedience over circumstance. I know, lots of times we have these situations, these things going on in our lives, and we feel like it disqualifies us from being able to carry out that thing that God has called us to do. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we fall short. But last time I heard, for all have fallen short of the glory of God. You know what I mean? So hey, don't disqualify yourself. Stay obedient. Keep doing the thing God has called you to do. Why? Because it's not about you. He's using you to reach other people. Think about that. And if you give up, that means that other people, they don't get what they need either. So, came across a story about a guy who found himself in a really tough situation, but he stayed obedient and he learned something in the process. I want you to hear this. It rocked my world. I hope it rocks yours too. See what you think about it.
And when I was going through the unfortunate divorce, we had a safety deposit box at a bank there in Cynthiana, and I couldn't find the key to the safety deposit box. And I looked everywhere, and be honest, I just thought, well, maybe my soon-to-be former wife had taken it, and there wasn't much in there, but this time, filed bankruptcy, lost everything. I needed every cent we had, and so I had to call the only locksmith in Cynthiana, and so we were there meeting, and we were talking, and I knew the gentleman. He shopped with me some, and we're just trying to make small talk, and so I just said, hey, how's your church doing? He said, well, actually, our pastor just left. I said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear. He said, yeah, he's leaving to take a church in Western Kentucky. And I can't believe this came out of my mouth, but I said, well, if you need somebody to fill in one Sunday, give me a call. And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I'm like, trying to grab the words and put them back in, because I'm like, oh yeah, well, Greg, what are you thinking? You're going through a divorce and a bankruptcy. Yeah, this guy definitely wants you to come preach at their church. And so he was very kind. He said, well, I appreciate that. He said, I actually heard you give a talk at the Christian Business Person's Award Banquet, annual banquet a couple of years ago, and you did a good job. So I was like, well, thank you. And he was very kind and gracious, but I was like, let's just get this open, let me get out of here and go home back to Lexington, because I was super embarrassed. Well, 2 weeks later, they called me, and I drive up there, and it's a little church in Berry, Kentucky, which is outside of Cynthiana, and literally it's like Mayberry. Flashing yellow light, post office, bank, funeral home, couple of churches, a Baptist and a Christian church. And so he just said, hey, we'll take you up on your offer. So I go up there, and first Sunday there's like 15 people there, but to add a little salt to the wound, they're like, oh, we forgot to tell you, you've got to lead the singing too. And I'm one of those guys that's make a joyful noise when I sing, and I literally was like, you got to be kidding me. And he said, no. So we sang some hymns, and it was painful. I cried through the sermon. I thought, you know what, I'll take my $50 check and one and done. That was awful, man. I'm sorry. I was embarrassed. Well, a couple weeks later, they called me back. I went again, still crying through the sermon. But they kept calling me, and then eventually I wasn't crying through every sermon. The church started growing. And then next thing you know, we were averaging almost 50. Had like 48 people we were having the previous Sunday. We had a Bring a Friend Sunday. and they were doing a potluck too, good old potluck, and we had some good cooks at that church, Berry Christian Church. So as I'm driving, it's almost an hour round trip from Lexington to Berry, Kentucky. My business background, I'm thinking, if everybody would invite at least one person, and somebody invites a family of 4, we could get 100. Then I'm like, man, you lost your mind. So never mind. So I just keep driving, got some praise and worship music on, but I couldn't get that thought out of my mind. So when I got up that morning to preach, by then we had developed some people to lead worship and all, and God was doing some cool things. I just shared that vision. Well, 2 weeks later, it's the Bring a Friend Day, Potluck Sunday. I'm busy working a full-time job. I'm volunteering like crazy out at Southland during the week, too. I'm still healing through the divorce and bankruptcy. I show up, and there's all these cars there. Well, I totally forgot it was Bring a Friend Sunday. And I walk in, and it's standing room only. And there was 156 people there. And my eyes just started, flooding with tears because, I remember what God had told me that, hey, cast the vision of 100. And so I get to the bathroom, try to get myself together, and, not saying it's an audible voice, but I heard God speak to me and say, hey, Greg, this is not about you. It's about me, and I can take a divorced, bankrupt guy if you're surrendered to me. If you keep both knees down and look to me, I could really use you. But just remember, it's about me, and it's not about you.
Wow. And the rest is history. Could you imagine what would have happened if he hadn't have stayed obedient? If he would have disqualified himself because of the circumstances he was going through? Do you see all the blessing he would have missed out on? Just because he would have stopped himself? God can use broken people. He does every day.
I'd be lying if I said that I'm okay. 'Cause right now, I'm lost and lost count of the broken prayers I've prayed.
One thing what I do when I first get in the truck, I've either got worship music, podcast, something uplifting that's going to get me through the day. And if I don't start my day with prayer and then get in my truck and I don't have my worship music on, I can tell throughout the day that it's a struggle. It's a completely different day, whether if you start it that way or you don't. And so I've just started doing those little spiritual reminders just throughout the day. Hey, God's got this. Whether it's a Bible verse sitting on your desk that when you walk in the office, you see it, it puts a smile on your face. Just little things like that help keep you grounded throughout the day.
I'm coming out the other side stronger. One foot in front of the other. Head still raising, heart still praising. I made it, I made it, I made it, I made it.
Today's Thursday, so I'm gonna call it a Throwback Thursday because I'm about to play a throwback song. This one right here came out in 92. At least that's when it was recorded. It's from a guy named Ron Canoli. I know, when's the last time you thought about Ron Canoli? You know he's still around, right? I just did a Google search on him recently, and yep, he's still around. Not sure if he's still singing, but my goodness, this song right here, it'll take you back a few years.
Oh, yes. Blessing and honor, glory and power, be unto the Ancient of Days.
That's a throwback, isn't it? Oh my, that's from a while ago. He was about 48 years old when he recorded that. You know what? He's 80 years old now. Yep, still kicking, still singing too. I just did a quick search on him, so that's good. But that's from a while ago. What would happen if that song were to get a remix? Ooh. You know what? Came across this guy over on the socials. He's on TikTok. His name is Happy the Creator. And so he takes old songs and kind of gives them, a fresh sound. So what would that sound like for this? Well, you got to know this. Usually he looks at the camera and asks the question, okay, have I gone too far with this one? But on this one, he believes that he has. So he just owns it. Here, take a listen to how it went down. I love the remix.
Am I allowed to do this to gospel? You know what? I've gone too far this time. I'm going to admit it.
Gone too far.
It's good, right? Yeah, a little upgraded beat. Oh, my goodness. Such a good song. I'm glad we got to relive that one. Now, Zach Williams with Jesus Loves right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Real hope, real faith, real life.
All the renegades, the rebels, and the runaways.
Welcome to the dream. You're living it. You are living the dream. I know you're like, Stephen, I don't know where rent money is coming from this month. I don't know how I'm going to do this, that, or the other. Or I've got a real bad relationship thing going on right now. Or, hey, you don't understand, Stephen. I'm sick. I'm definitely not living the dream. Hold on one second. Hold on. Okay. I want you to listen to this. It's what I listened to that got me to believe that I'm living the dream too. Here, take a listen. And let's unpack it right after.
We're really quick to forget that the day we're living today is a day we dreamed of 10 years ago. Maybe not in a complete picture, but there's a part of your life that is exactly the life that you wanted. Not all of it, but there's a part of it. And when you forget that, you lose out on recognizing you're already living in the dream and that you already have the power to create that future dream because you've already done it once. So you have to remember that where you are today is what you wanted yesterday. And what you want today, you can create tomorrow because you've already done it once.
So what do you think about that? Do you see the truth in it? There's got to be some aspect of your life today that you prayed for, that you dreamed of. You're like, hey, in 10 years, I want to be doing that. And I don't know what it is in your life, but there's got to be something. You know what? That's worth being thankful for. And that's something in your life that you can look at and say, hey, look what God did. Look what he helped me to accomplish. It's a pretty big deal. When you start looking at the good stuff in your life, it starts to take your mind off of the bad stuff. It helps you to function. Because if we're honest, if we just dwell on all the stuff that's gone wrong, it'll paralyze us. We won't even want to get out of bed in the morning. Yeah, put you in some deep depression, right? But who's got time for that? We don't. We've got a short time on this earth. So we need to be looking for the good stuff. We need to be in the right headspace because God is using us to do some pretty amazing things. So hold your head up. It's going to be okay. Keep moving forward. All right? Hey, we're called to do it. We are. And hey, if he calls us, guess what? He equips us. So he's going to help us. And I hope that speaks to your heart this morning. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Just got a message from Kevin Lewis. He says, good morning, Stephen. I hope this finds you and your family well. I know I haven't texted in quite a while, but I still listen to you every morning, and I appreciate everything you do. Could you play His Name is Jesus by Jeremy Riddle? Have a blessed day, my friend. Yes, I can do that for you. You have a blessed day as well. It's so good to hear from you. And hey, you know, it's been a while since I heard this song, so I think we're due for it. So here you go, sir. It's Jeremy Riddle. And His Name is Jesus, right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. You can text me too, 256-967-0885.
His name is Jesus. His name is Jesus.
It's the 8 o'clock hour on the Lifeline Morning Show. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love to tell you about a woman named Gladys Aylward. You ever heard that name before? Well, guess what? You're about to learn all about her because she's pretty cool. She's someone who reminds us that God doesn't need perfect resumes. He just wants obedient hearts. Back in the 1920s, Gladys was a housemaid in London. She didn't come from wealth, she wasn't highly educated, and she wasn't what the world would call qualified. But she had something rare, an unshakable calling to be a missionary to China. She applied to every mission board she could, but was rejected, told she wasn't smart enough, that she couldn't learn Chinese and wasn't cut out for it. But Gladys didn't see closed doors. She saw a test of obedience. So she worked and saved every penny she could. And in 1930, with little more than a suitcase and her Bible, she bought a one-way train ticket and traveled across Europe and Russia to get to China. The journey was dangerous. She was detained along the way, but she eventually made it to Yangqing, China. The journey, treacherous as it was, led to her joining an elderly missionary named Jeannie Lawson. There, she began serving the poor, sharing the gospel, and even working with Chinese officials to help end foot binding among young girls. But the story doesn't stop there. When Japan invaded China in 1938, Gladys helped over 100 orphans escape over the mountains on foot while wounded, weak, and under enemy threat. She didn't do it for glory. She didn't know how it would end. She just knew God had said, go. And as Priscilla Shirer puts it, obedience is your responsibility. The outcome is God's. And Gladys once said, I wasn't God's first choice for what I've done. There was somebody else. I don't know who it was, God's first choice, but they didn't obey. So I was God's second choice. And I did the best I could. And look what God did with her yes. You know, I can see why she says that, why she feels like she was God's second choice, because she went to her brothers and sisters in Christ, and they didn't even believe in her ability to do the thing God had called her to do. Let that be a little cautionary tale for you that, you know what? Sometimes people miss it. If you've got that fire burning in your heart, that desire to do the thing God has called you to do, you've got to persevere, even through the rejection of the church. Sometimes the people who say, hey, no, you can't do this. You say, hey, watch me, because I know that I'm called to do this thing. That one hit me hard. Look what God did with her yes, with her obedience, with her perseverance. So what's God asking you to say yes to, even if the outcome isn't guaranteed? Tell me. I'd love to hear your story. You can call me 256-505-0885, or why don't you email me, Stephen@885jfm.com. All right, more great music headed your way. Oh, this is perfect. I did not line this up this way. It just happened to be sitting here. Hard Fought Hallelujah by Brandon Lake and Jelly Roll, right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Real hope, real faith, real life.
I'll bring my hard-fought, heartfelt, been through hell, hallelujah.
Sing it with me. Rain, rain, go away, come again another day. Little Stephen wants to play. Rain, rain, go away. Yeah, I know. It's rough. The rain. So, yeah, let's just move on. Temperatures across North Alabama right now, not too shabby, warming up little by little and then cooling off little by little because of that rain cool air. Enough about rain. 73 in Boaz. It's 72 right now in Arab. It's 69 in Huntsville, and a lot of the same across the rest of North Alabama. And your word of life today comes to you from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 in the New Living Translation of the Bible. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Think about that for a second. Let's not get tired of doing what is good. Now, last I checked, it didn't say anything there about circumstances and situations in my life having anything to do with whether or not I was getting tired. But you know, those things do. They wear on us. They weather us. It's like, ew. I don't want to do this in the rain. But what does it say? Let's not get tired of doing what is good. Even in the rain. You know what? Sometimes that rain can be a good thing. Yeah. I mean, think about it. When I'm going down the road and I got a dirty windshield and it starts raining, well, that means my windshield's getting clean, right? It's washing all the bugs off my windshield. Or, hey, maybe it's bringing new life to you. Maybe it's refreshing because you're so hot and it cools you off. There's just something about the rain. You know what? A friend of ours actually posted a little something about that on her TikTok. Yeah, Lizeth. Yep, she just posted about 10 seconds worth of rain right outside of her house and says how she loves the rain these days. Isn't it funny? Some days you love it, some days you hate it. But you know what? Despite the rain, you keep moving forward. And sometimes with the help of the rain, you keep moving forward. So rain has its place in our lives. Anyway, I'll leave it there. How about some Elevation Rhythm? Goodbye, yesterday.
Goodbye, yesterday. I'm living in the light of a new day. I won't waste another minute in my old ways. Praise the Lord, I've been born again.
It was covered up. Recently, been going through some things in my life where I've been, cleaning out the closet, if you will. Just unpacking things. Why do I handle certain things a certain way? And all these different emotions have been coming up. I don't know why all these things have been going through my mind, but it kind of brought me back to this moment. The other day I was getting in my truck to take off down the road, and I'm like, man, this thing does not have the power that it should have. And I can't figure it out, and it's frustrating me to no end. And then I brush it off. I'm like, oh, it's no big deal. It's been like this since I bought it, so whatever. It is what it is. Hit the gas, let's go. It's using more gas than it should. It's doing all this stuff. Had no power whatsoever. And then I look closer, and I'm like, hold on a second. Behind the glass, there's a piece of electrical tape over top of where the check engine light is. And guess what? That check engine light, it's on. So, of course, I was frustrated, and then it dawns on me, I don't know why my mind works this way, it dawns on me, I'm like, okay, there's a piece of tape that's covered up the thing that's telling me there's a problem, so instead of dealing with the problem, somebody just covered it up and moved on and just hit it. Think about that. How many times in our life do we take stuff, we hit our knees, and we're like, God, where are you? God, can you handle this? God, can you this? Can you that? God, please show up. I need your power in my life. But we buried it. We covered it up. We put a piece of electrical tape over top of it and said, no, I don't want to deal with that, but I need this to perform the way it should. Something to think about.
If I'm a target for the enemy, then it means I'm where I'm supposed to be. There's a war that's raging over me, but I know the one who holds the victory.
I want to talk about arguments. We all know the rules of arguments. The rule is, I'm right and you're wrong, right? It's what I did was okay. What you did was unacceptable. But hold on a second. The last time you approached a conversation about that argument with that attitude, either it lasted really long because it didn't get anywhere, or it was very, very short because the other person didn't want to hear it and they just walked away. Yeah. But what would happen if you gave that conversation new rules? Yeah, Simon Sinek is going to turn it on its head, coming up after Forrest Frank and Your Way's Better.
Oh Lord, I need you now more than ever. Would you put my heart back together? I searched the world till my head hurt just to find out your ways better.
My girlfriend and I were having a pretty bad argument, and it went something like this. Here's what I did right, and here's what you did wrong. The response was, well, here's what I did right, and here's what you did wrong. The response was, well, here's what I did right. In fact, here's 2 things I did right, and here's 4 things you did wrong, right? And this went on and on, clearly going nowhere. It's getting more heated. It's getting more aggressive. It's getting more personal. And I had the situational awareness to realize this is a lose-lose situation. And I literally interrupted. I said, okay, hey, I'm interrupting our argument, and I'm making new rules, okay? Currently what we're doing is I'm telling you the things I did right, and I'm telling you the things you did wrong, and you're doing the same. I'm changing the rules, new rules. I'm gonna tell you the things that I did wrong, I'm gonna tell you the things that you did right. I'm gonna go first, and then you're gonna go, okay? Here's what I got wrong, and here's what you got right. And she goes, well, yeah, well, here's what I got wrong, and here's what you got right. And I was, well, here's what I got wrong. And in 4 minutes, we were joking and laughing and hugging and realizing that we were contributing to the tension, but also the other person was really trying.
Wow, sometimes changing the rules in the argument makes a big difference. So, hey, try that next time. Instead of being your own advocate, I don't know, maybe own it. Maybe say, okay, you know what, maybe I wasn't so right after all. That's a big step. A lot of people can't do it, but I know you can.
I'd be lying if I said that I'm okay, 'cause right now I'm lost and lost count of the broken prayers I've prayed.
Just because you're waiting on the Lord for something doesn't mean you should just sit still. But don't just take my word for it. Here's Mark Lowry with a little insight on this one.
You know, you just can't sit in a corner waiting on a cloud to roll by with your name on it. Move forward. Don't stop waiting on God. You keep moving and let Him guide your steps, but you got to be taking steps for Him to guide them, right? If you're standing still, there are no steps to guide. So move forward. Keep walking. Talking to myself now. Keep moving forward. And when I say I'm talking to myself if you speak literally about walking, because I hate to walk. I'd rather be driven. But you got to take steps for God to guide them.
Come open the doors and make way. The King is in the room. The King is in the room.
Well, good morning and welcome to This Day in History, a chance for us to look back on yesteryear to celebrate some milestones and some achievements and the movers and shakers who brought us this far. So what happened on this day in history? It was on this day in 1846, the first recorded baseball game was played on the Elysian Fields in Hoboken, New Jersey, between the Knickerbocker Athletic Club and the New York Nines. New York won 23-1. It was the first baseball game using today's rules. Yep. And then, 1905, the first Nickelodeon opens. You're like, Nickelodeon, isn't that a TV channel? Yeah. Nickelodeon. I know, but it has a history. You see, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, showman Harry Davis opened the world's first Nickelodeon, showing a silent film called The Great Train Robbery. The storefront theater boasted 96 seats and charged only 5 cents. Just a nickel, a shiny nickel. Nickelodeons soon spread across the country, typically featuring live vaudeville acts as well as short films. By 1907, some 2 million Americans had visited a Nickelodeon, and the storefront theaters remained the main outlet for films until they were replaced around 1910 by large, modern theaters. Inventors in Europe and the United States, including Thomas Edison, had been developing movie cameras since the late 1880s. Ooh, did you know that? It was also on this day in 1910 the first Father's Day was celebrated right here in the USA in Spokane, Washington. Also, it was on this day in 1865, with the arrival of Union soldiers in Galveston, Texas, the state's residents finally learned about the Emancipation Proclamation. The day became the annual holiday known as Juneteenth, commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. It was also on this day in 1903 that Lou Gehrig was born, the American Hall of Fame baseball player. And there you have it, this day in history. Now it's time for me to bring down the music and close the book. Oh, and remind you of one other fact. Oh, it's this. I almost forgot this. My goodness, where did my brain go? Okay, it was on this day in 325, the Nicene Creed was declared. Yep, you know that Nicene Creed that many of you recite at church every Sunday? That same one. This day in 325. Now, let me bring the music down. Remind you of the simple truth. There are many facts and figures and excerpts of people's lives written in this book, how they changed the culture, how they impacted the world. And what an awesome thing for your good history to be written in a book that other people can read about and learn about you and all the good that you did. You know what? I hope that for you. It's a humbling idea, isn't it? Yeah. So I hope your good history is written in a book like this. But you know what? Even if it's not, I know where it is being written every single day. It's on the hearts and in the minds of every person you come in contact with and how you make them feel. So I wonder if you can take a challenge with me today that I like to take every day. It's simply this. Let's resolve to make good history today, so that when others think of us, they get a smile on their face, a little extra warmth in their heart. Now, sometimes it's not so easy, because that filter between your brain and your mouth, you like to put your finger up there and just switch it off. But make sure that it's switched on, because remember, life and death are in the power of the tongue. So let's choose our words wisely. Now, with all that in mind, and knowing how hard it can be, are you still going to rise to the occasion? Can you still take that challenge? Yeah, I knew you could. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Now, I don't know if you heard or not, but there's some really big news about this band right here. It's third day, and Cry Out to Jesus. Yep, they're doing an anniversary tour, the first time they've gotten together in 11 years. And guess what? They're coming to Birmingham. It's going to be 2026. So more about that as we get a little closer.
To everyone who's lost someone they love, long before it was their time.
Today's word of life is from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, in the New Living Translation of the Bible. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. A harvest of blessing, not just a little piece. No, a whole harvest. I'm thinking like a huge, 20-acre field full of corn. That's the kind of harvest I'm looking for. How about you? Hey, you got to keep going. Don't give up. It's going to be worth it. Why don't you share that word of life with somebody? We've got it ready for you across all of our socials and at the top of our website, 885jfm.com. But coming up, we'll be checking in with a good friend of ours. You know who it is, Brian Trent. He's got something extra special for us today, especially if you're just not feeling it. But first, Tasha Layton and the Choir Room with Thank You Isn't Enough.
I got a resurrection story, one I gotta tell. How Jesus changed my life and I'm still overwhelmed.
There are many reasons to not feel it. I don't know, maybe you get up and you're just tired, just automatically tired. Or maybe something's hurting. Maybe you had a bad cramp overnight and it's still hurting. Your calf is just killing you. Or maybe you get up and you bend over just a certain way and you get that little twinge in your back. You know what I'm talking about? Ooh, that happened to me this morning. It got me kind of scared for a minute. I thought, oh no, I don't need my back to slip out now. Luckily it didn't, so I'm good. But it could be a number of things. It could be the wet commute into work, all that roadway wetness and causing problems and all that. So I don't know. Whatever it is though, whatever you're not feeling it because of, you know what, that can be overcome by some pretty little things. Brian Trent's going to help us out with that, with a little personal story. Here, I'm just going to let him tell you, and I'll tell you how you can find him after the fact.
I think it's funny how God will use the little things to make the biggest impact in our life. I'm going to keep it real with you because the other morning when I got up, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling encouraging at all. I was feeling very discouraged and depressed. But my wife Amanda and I had been real busy lately, so maybe we were physically exhausted. Adding to it the things that we're personally going through in our own life, and then the things that others around us are going through, and I think it was taking its toll on me. And I told her that morning, I said, I'm not okay. I hope that I'll be all right, but right now I am not. But we were scheduled to take care of our two little granddaughters that afternoon. I, for one, wasn't feeling it, but we're family and we're committed to this. So I found myself that afternoon sitting across the kitchen table from my 3-year-old granddaughter. When all of a sudden she stops what she's doing, she looks up, she looks at me with these cute 3-year-old eyes, she tilts her head, she smiles this cute 3-year-old smile, she makes this heart with her hands, and then she begins to look at me through this heart. You know, it was in that moment I realized sometimes it's as simple as knowing that we are loved. And in that moment, God was using that 3-year-old girl to remind me that He loves me like crazy, and there's nothing that I can do, there's nothing that I can go through that will ever change His love for me. Maybe right now that's all you need to know, is that God loves you like crazy. It's a little reminder of a big love from a big God. Love you.
Wow, how good was that, right? Yeah, that's Brian Trent. You can find him across all the socials under this handle. It's Trent Tribe. He and his family are all across the socials. And I've been following him for a long time. Glad that I have, because every morning it's something different, something new. Lots of times it's a light bulb moment, or it's just what you need at just the right time. You know what I mean? Yeah, so hey, you can find him for yourself across the socials. Again, that handle is Trent Tribe, TRENTTRIBE, or just come back here tomorrow about the same time. You'll hear him again. Sound good? All right, then. I guess we need some great music. So how about this new one from Lynn D? I've really been loving this one. It's one of my favorites right now. It's called Move, and it will make you move. So, hey, go ahead. Move.
Hope I really made it obvious. No, I'm not looking for an audience. I breathe and I endure for the glory of
I think it's time for a Throwback Thursday song. Yeah, after I do a little shouting out, because I haven't been sharing a lot of love this morning, shouting out some people over on the stream. So I think maybe I'll do that real quick, okay? All right, so I know Joe Modest's been hanging out with us down in Palm Coast, Florida. We've had Jesse Martin and his family hanging out with us in Orlando because they're on their family vacation this week. They've been having a blast, by the way. We got some listeners just outside of Dallas in Irving, Texas. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We've also got Albertville and Arab right here in North Alabama. We got our good friend Wheezy up in, what you talking about, Willis, Michigan. And then we've got our friends across the pond in Buchenstein and Vogelen, Germany. Thanks for making us part of your afternoon. Okay, now I got my shout outs out the way. Let's go ahead and get this Throwback Thursday in here. Ooh, I think you're going to like it. It's from Crowder, but not just Crowder. It's back when he was with the David Crowder Band. It's been a few years back. And yeah, well, that's to be expected on a Throwback Thursday. Is it ringing a bell yet? Do you know what song it is? Here we go.
Every move I make, and you make me move, Jesus.
So easy to sing along to. You don't even have to know the lyrics. It's just la, 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 la. It's good, isn't it? Hey, you know, I just heard from our good friend Wheezy, who's hanging out with us up in Michigan, and she told me it's been raining up there too. Torrential rains last night. More of the same today. Those 100-degree days are in our near future. Looks like it's going to be house cleaning for today. Stay safe. Yeah, I will, Wheezy. And what you don't know is she sent me a little morning GIF. And it says good morning in the bottom, right? And then it's got this lady there. She's got her arms outstretched like, woohoo, it's a new day. And then she's got like this sunshine with a big smiley face on it, this big sun. And then to the left and to the right, there are these bluebirds, right? So they're singing. Everything's pretty. Everything's so good. And then you got flowers at the bottom. And then you know what's jumping beside the lady who's holding her arms up? It's a piece of jelly toast. Unexpected hunger has hit me now. So I want some toast with some strawberry jelly on it. I think that would be delicious. Oh, by the way, have you ever tried a sausage biscuit with grape jelly on it? If you have never tried that before, you've got to do it. It is one of the best flavors in the world. I'm just saying. The sweet and the salty together and the warm buttery biscuit. I'm making myself hungry. I better stop. But for you, Weezy, I shall play Flowers by Samantha Ebert. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being awesome.
Well, blue skies and hillsides feel so far away. And I wrote in my notebook that I've seen better days than the ones as of late. I can't bear the weight.
The time has come for me to bid you adieu. But before I do, I'd like to share with you an inspiring quote. In fact, some might say it's the most inspiring quote of the day. Priscilla Shirer says, "Obedience is your responsibility. The outcome is God's." Isn't that good? Wow, if you're waiting, wondering, or maybe wrestling with what God's asking of you, just remember this. You don't have to have the whole plan. You don't have to control the result. You just have to say yes. Yes to the prompting, yes to the step, yes to the quiet, faithful obedience that no one else sees. And when you do, God meets you in it. Always right on time. Thanks for hanging out with me today on the Lifeline Morning Show. It has been a blast hanging out with you. I hope we can do it again tomorrow. And tomorrow's show is going to be big. We'll be talking about what happens when God gives more than you asked for. You won't want to miss it. But you know, I want to leave you with one final thought, because this whole idea of obedience being our responsibility, the outcome being God's, you know what? You have to think about it. When you're following God's lead, it's not your reputation. It's His reputation. He's going to make good on his promise. He's going to make good on your efforts because you did what he called you to do. So don't worry about your reputation because you're relying on his reputation. Okay? All right. Thanks for hanging out with me. Now, let's close it out with a rocker. Sevens by Brandon Lake. Right here on the Lifeline. Real hope, real faith, real life. See you tomorrow. The podcast will be up at 10:30 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.